Today I'm using a 3-axis gimbal as a budget robot arm to use as a motion control system with this Star Wars X-Wing. And the really cool thing about this setup is that I can control the whole thing from the gyroscopic data from my phone. So it's really easy to get dynamic moves. So that's the setup, and here's the shot. Here's today's camera rig. Underneath my desk here, I have the small rig Freeblazer tripod. On top of that is the SliPod Pro monopod. On the end of the monopod is this small manual camera slider. And on the end of that is the Canon R8. So the camera can move forward and backwards and also rotate. So there's the setup, and here's the shot. Here's how I faked slow-mo in this video. I started off by filming a shot of me actually dropping an Oreo into a glass of milk. Then right at the point where I dropped the Oreo, I took a screenshot and used Photoshop to erase the Oreo from that one frame. Then I deleted the part of the video where the Oreo is falling and replaced it with this photo where there's no Oreo. So it looks as though I dropped the Oreo, it disappears, and then it doesn't reappear until it hits the milk. Next, I filmed a shot of an Oreo spinning in front of a blue screen. This allowed me to erase the background from this Oreo video and place it over my original shot. I used keyframes to move it from my hand down to the glass. I also added a speed ramp effect and a digital zoom right as the Oreo starts to fall. Then I used that same technique to create these two shots as well. Here's one of the camera rigs that I'm using today. At the base of this is just a really inexpensive camera dolly. Attached to that is a friction arm clamp that's holding a phone mount, and I'm filming with the iPhone 13 Pro. This is a super simple camera rig that can create some great shots, but there are a few tricks that I've learned to setting it up to actually make it work properly. If you set this up and start moving the camera, you may notice that the object you're wanting to film doesn't stay in the middle of the scene. And even if you adjust it, as soon as you start moving the camera back again, it's gonna go out of frame again. The way you fix this is to make sure that both sets of wheels are set to approximately the same angle in opposite directions. Then draw a line out from the wheels. Where that line crosses is the axis point that the dolly is going to rotate around. So that's where you're going to want to place the object that you're filming. Next, make sure that the camera on your phone is centered over the middle of the dolly. And now everything should be lining up properly, and the object that you're filming will stay centered in the middle of the video. I'm filming at 4K 60 FPS, that way I can slow the video down in post if I want to. I've also got this Ulanzi RGB light here to add some creative lighting to the scene, and here's some of the shots that I've recently filmed using this rig. By the way, if you want any of this gear, there will be links for it all down in the description below. I wanted to capture a shot where a Nerf bullet was flying out the end of this Nerf gun in slow motion while the camera was simultaneously rotating around the end of the Nerf gun. So I've got a tripod here with a friction arm off to the side that's holding the Nerf gun. So this is all just stationary. And then on the ball head of the tripod, I've got an extension arm with the Canon R8 out there on the end, and also this little fill light off to the side here. So this whole thing can rotate around the end of the Nerf gun. Now, this isn't a slow-mo camera, so this entire scene is going to be filmed at regular speed, and then the Nerf bullet will be added into the video in post. So I also have this electric turntable here with the Nerf bullet on top of it, a green screen in the background, and then my phone recording a nice close-up macro video of the Nerf bullet rotating. This is a VFX shot, so everything that you see in the finished video is going to be made out of real elements. It's just that these elements are being filmed separately. Now there's a moment where the Nerf bullet is going to be exiting the barrel of the Nerf gun, and when it does, it's leaving this hole, this dark hole where there's not any light hitting it, and then it's entering the room. So I have this piece of cardboard here, and I'm gonna block the light out from hitting the Nerf bullet right about there. I still want as much light spilling onto my green screen, so it's easy to key out. I'm gonna let that rotate a little bit, and then just slowly remove that. And that's gonna be the moment that the Nerf bullet leaves the barrel, right there when the light starts hitting it. So that's the setup, and here's the final shot. Here's how you can create moving parallax photos like this. First thing you're going to need is an electric camera slider. I'm using this Zeppin Micro 2 Plus, and on top of that I have mounted the Canon 6D Mark II. Now I'm going to hit record on my camera, strike a pose, and start up the camera slider. Now we have a video clip that looks like this. Now before I go anywhere, I also want to take a picture of this coffee mug right here in this exact location. Now that that's done, it's time to go do some editing, and I'm going to be using Photoshop and LumaFusion on my iPad. Now I'm going to start by opening up this photo in Photoshop, grab the object selection tool, and use it to select the coffee mug. Once that's selected, you can click on these three little dots here, click copy, click on the three little dots again, and hit paste. The coffee mug is now its own layer, so now we can just select the background layer and delete it. Now we have just the coffee mug by itself with a transparent background. Go to export and make sure you export this as a PNG file. JPEGs don't preserve the transparent background, so it's very important that you export this as a PNG. Now I'm going to head over to LumaFusion, and as you can see, I've already brought in my video clip and moved it down here onto the timeline. Up here on the left, I have my PNG coffee mug photo. I'm going to grab that and just drag that down onto the timeline here and place it right above the video clip. That way it'll be visible in front of the video clip. Now it's time to add some motion keyframes so that this coffee mug will actually move throughout the video. Click on this little pencil button right here, and that will open up this edit panel where we can create some keyframes. So we're gonna start here at the beginning of our video. Click on this little blue X here, and that will create a keyframe. I'm gonna move the coffee mug over here so it's right above my hand, just kind of floating there. Scrub through the timeline to the very end of the video, and move the coffee mug over to the left side of the screen here, right in the same place, just hovering above my hand. And there's no need to click to create another keyframe because another keyframe has automatically been created. So what's happening here is that the coffee mug is going to automatically move from keyframe A to keyframe B throughout the duration of the video. Now we can just go back, hit export, and here's the results. So this is a really simple little editing technique, and then I just took this same technique but applied it in slightly different ways to create these other two clips. And then for this last one, this didn't actually involve any editing at all. Instead, I just brought in some ladders, set up a board in between them, and then sat on that and had my legs dangling off the edge, and then just had the camera angled down far enough that you couldn't see the board and the ladders. So if you guys don't feel like editing anything, you could always try out that trick as well.